Hey! What did Momotaro's parents say when he was born? Well, that's just peachy. Here's something you might not know about Maui. Remember in the Disney movie how he steals a heart from a goddess in order to give it to humanity, but he ultimately fails and has to redeem himself? Well, in the actual myth, the story goes a little differently. In the myth, Maui wants to gain immortality for humans, so he tries to do so by traveling through the body of a goddess named Hinui-Tepo. Maui finds the goddess asleep with her legs spread open, oh dear, and he decides to enter her by crawling into her genitalia. Yeah, nice plan. But when his brothers see him doing this, they cannot stop themselves from laughing, which wakes up the goddess. And when she feels what's happening down there, she shuts her legs, and Maui is crushed to death by the obsidian-sharp teeth she apparently had in her genitals. What a way to go. I guess the lesson here is you shouldn't try to enter a woman while she's asleep. Progressive. The Nesoi are Greek spirits of plague and disease. Everywhere they go, they spread sickness. Whoa, it's a good thing those creatures don't actually exist, huh? Well, actually. Hey honey, remember how I chopped our son's head off? Be pretty hard to forget that. Well, I got good news. I brought him back to life. Take a look. Why does he have an elephant head? Well, I wasn't gonna bring him back to life without a head, so I stuck an elephant's head on and then revived him. Why didn't you just stick his old head on and revive him? Well, So remember, everyone, love thy neighbor, judge not lest you be judged, and treat others how you wish to be treated. What about women, though? Like, we should still treat them as lesser beings, right? Okay, not sure how you interpreted it that way. Remember how I said treat others how you wish to be treated? Yeah, that would include women. But what about the people with different beliefs than us? Should we kill them? Were you not listening to me? I just said love thy neighbor. That doesn't include murder. Ooh, but what if somebody is living a lifestyle that isn't the exact same kind of lifestyle I live? Surely we should judge them. What is wrong with you people? Seriously, I have been walking all over this country in my bare feet, preaching nothing but peace and love. Why is that so hard for you guys to understand? Why do you keep misconstruing it? But what about black people? Oh my dad! Hey, you know why I enjoy being a psychic medium? Well, it's a job that just speaks to me, on a spiritual level. Here's something you might not know about Bast. Bast has been the goddess of a whole lot of things, but did you know she was also the goddess of perfume? Her full name, Bastet, literally translates to she of the ointment jar, and because of this she was regarded as a goddess of ointments and perfumes. She was even given the title, the Perfumed Protector. Hell yeah, if that ain't badass, I don't know what is. Because Anubis is the god of embalming, there was a time when he was considered to be her son, until his mother got switched over to Nephthys. There are even several perfumes and ointments named after her to this day. I'm surprised there aren't statues of her at the Sephora, to be honest. Bonus fact, she's also the goddess of sex. Not surprising, she does have a pussy for a head. I have a question about Odin from Norse mythology. Okay, so in Norse mythology, there are magical runes that you can only master if you've been through some kind of intense suffering. So in order to do that, Odin intentionally impaled himself against a tree in order to go through intense suffering so he could master the runes. But here's the thing. At one point, he had also gouged out one of his own eyes in order to gain access to the Well of Erd. Doesn't that count as intense suffering? Did he also need to impale himself to gain access to the runes? Why couldn't he gouge out his eye to gain access to the well, and then go to the runes having already gone through intense suffering by pulling out his own eye? Did he do the runes first and not know he was going to pull out his own eye later? Boy, that must be annoying to find out. Yo mama's so big the Monkey King's staff can't reach the top of her. Yo mama's so old there is no zodiac animal for her birth year. Yo mama's so fat Pongu used her to weigh down the earth while he held up the sky. Yo mama's so annoying Nuwa regrets creating humans. Yo mama's so dumb the Tao Wu is face palming. Yo mama's so fat the Tao Che couldn't finish her. Yo mama's so annoying the underworld gods took her name out of the Book of Mortals so they wouldn't have to deal with her. Hey, what did the Hindu god of love say to his new lover? Come on, get me. Dude, I heard that the Greek god Koalamos just got a job. What? But Koalamos is the Greek god of stupidity. Who on earth would give him a job? Wow, I gotta say, I'm really surprised you guys are actually taking my suggestions. Are you kidding? These are fantastic. I especially love this idea to censor the dislikes. That's just brilliant. So here's a mythical creature who really needs to get ahead. The Headless Mule from Brazilian folklore. Yeah, what you see is what you get. It's a headless mule with fire shooting out of its neck for some reason. If you want to avoid this creature, which you probably should, you just lay face down and conceal any shiny objects you may have. The creature won't be able to see you then because it has very poor eyesight. Gee, I wonder why. Despite having no head, this thing neighs very loudly and moans in the voice of a crying woman. The reason for this being, this creature actually used to be a woman, but she was cursed to roam the earth in this form as a punishment for her sins. Boy, what a creative way to punish someone. However, there is a way to undo this curse. If you can get close enough to this creature and remove its bridle, it will turn back into a woman and then marry you. Really? So guys, if you're having bad luck with women, just go to Brazil and seek out a headless mule. Wow, Demeter is really sad. Yeah, the poor woman's crying because she lost her daughter and may never see her again. We should do something. We really should. You know what? I'm gonna bang her. Sounds good. Wait, what? It's the perfect time to make a move. She's all depressed and vulnerable. Well, first of all, that's awful. And second, shouldn't you be comforting her? That's your sister. My hot sister. Oh, bro, I really don't think she wants to do that with you. Wants? Sis, have you forgotten how this family works? Whether or not she wants it is not my concern. You know what's interesting about Ganesh? He is known as the remover of obstacles. That's like one of his main things. And yet he was literally created to be an obstacle, to prevent anyone from walking in on his mom while she was bathing. Like, the literal first thing Ganesh ever did was be an obstacle to Shiva, and yet he is now known as the remover of obstacles. Is there some kind of connection there that I don't know about? Do you think maybe Ganesh just hated his first job so much he devoted the whole rest of his life to make it not even be a thing anymore? Hey, you know why Vishnu always looks so young? Because he's Vishnu, not Vish old. So here's a mythical creature who brings about the Yuletide fear. The Yule cat from Icelandic folklore. This cat is the size of a house, and it spends the Christmas season hunting and eating children who have not received new clothes for Christmas. You see, it was a tradition that when good children finished all their chores in time for Christmas, they were rewarded with new warm clothes for the season as a gift. But if a child was lazy and did not finish all their chores, they were not given any warm clothes for the season, and therefore also had to deal with this guy. Wow, that's some solid parenting right there. The Yule cat would prowl around towns on Christmas Day, peeking in through people's windows to see if the kids had new clothes for Christmas. If they did, he would move on, but if they didn't, first he would burst in and eat the child's dinner, rude, and then he would eat the child itself. So you should appreciate those socks you got for Christmas. They are literally keeping you alive. Hey buddy, do you like my sleigh? Yes, sir. It's a very nice sleigh. Why don't you ask me how much I paid for it? Sir, I have a lot of work to do. Ask me how much I paid for it. How much did you pay for it? Nothing! It was on the house.
How long are you gonna keep making dad jokes?
Oh, just as long as I'm Father Christmas. Oh! And what do you want for Christmas, little boy?
I want a baby brother.
All right.
My friends, please eat this bread.
You're the Messiah.
For this bread is my body.
Dude, what the heck? I don't want to eat your body.
Oh no, I wasn't being literal. It was a metaphor.
Oh, was it? Well, you know what? How about next time you tell us that?
Well, clearly the bread can't actually be my body. I thought it was obvious.
JC, I have literally watched you cure blindness and walk on water. Okay, trust me, nothing is obvious anymore.
Okay, fair point. I seem to have made things a bit tense, so please drink this wine.
Now you're talking.
For this wine is my blood.
Hey! Do you think Hades would be willing to trade me some of his spirits in exchange for some of my shoes? You know, a soul for a soul. Here's something you might not know about Tom Hiddleston. Nowadays, this man is world famous for his awesome performance as the God of Mischief. But did you know that when he got this role, he was actually auditioning to play Thor? Yeah, I bet you didn't know Tom's natural hair is actually a curly blonde. So when the casting call went out, this guy went through a 3-month audition process to try to get the role of Thor. He got really buff for it, and you can actually find the audition video on YouTube. But after all that work, they decided he was not a good fit for the role. However, the director really liked Tom and saw a lot of potential in his acting ability, his sense of humor, and his personality to the point that he just offered him the role of Loki without him ever having to audition for it. And according to Tom, he really loves playing this character, and I think we can all see why. I think everything worked out for the best. Hey, can you guys clear something up for me? You know how we measure years with BC and AD, you know, around Jesus? BC is before Christ, before he was born, and AD is after death, after Jesus died. But here's the thing. Jesus was alive for 33 years. Where do those years fall? Are those included in BC or AD? That wouldn't be accurate because before Christ isn't during Christ and after death wouldn't be while he was alive. Is there some DC during Christ era that I don't know about? Like, where do we put those years? Do we record them at all? Also, does anybody know how in the world we got every single culture in the world to agree to use that kind of measurement of years? Like, a lot of those cultures don't even believe in Jesus. How did that convo go? Yeah, we know you don't believe this guy ever existed, but we're gonna need you to record all of your history around his birth and death. How in the world did that work? You know, as a lover of mythology, I'm obviously a huge lover of holiday mascots, so it really bothers me that during New Year's Eve, nobody dresses up as Baby New Year. I mean, you always see Santa Clauses on Christmas, you see Easter bunnies on Easter, all kinds of characters on Halloween. I've seen people dress as leprechauns for St. Patrick's Day, even past presidents for President's Day, and throwing on American flag suits for the 4th of July. So how come on New Year's Eve, nobody throws on a big old diaper and a Happy New Year's sash and runs around Times Square during the big ball drop? Come on, in New York of all places, that's what I expect to see. I'm disappointed in you people. How am I supposed to keep my spirits up without that? I may just have to start doing it myself next year. Hey, what do people say when they see a droger? Dead man walking. Fun fact! Did you know that the Lord of the Rings franchise was highly based on Norse mythology? You see, the writer, J.R.R. Tolkien, had an Icelandic nanny when he was a child who would tell him Norse myth stories, which he loved. They inspired him to write The Hobbit, which of course led to Lord of the Rings. The dwarves, elves, and trolls were pulled directly from Norse mythology. Middle-earth was based on Midgard. Gandalf was inspired by Odin. The orcs were based on the Dark Elves. Smaug was based on Fafnir. The One Ring itself was based on the Ring of Andvari, and so on and so on. Man, isn't it wholesome that the stories a loving nanny tells to a child can lead to the creation of one of the most epic franchises of all time? Wow, Gandalf was right. The world really can be changed by the smallest of things. Alright, we're doing a new Greek mythology movie. We need a villain. So let's do a little search for
Greek gods who are not good people. Whoa! Wow, didn't know that. Alright, gonna have to be way more specific. Cruel, deceitful, wrathful, petty, disgustingly perverted. I'm nuts to this. I'll just pick Hades again. Listen, son, Zeus had to kill you because your healing powers were preventing anybody from dying. The world was becoming overpopulated. Now, I convinced him to let me bring you back, but you can't let that happen again. Well, what am I supposed to do? Just stop healing people? Don't worry, son. We've come up with a new system that'll help thin out the herd a bit. Asclepius! My friend is dying! He needs your help! I'll get right on it. Just one question first. Do you guys have health insurance? What? No, I don't even know what that is. Yeah, that's gonna be an issue. Hey, my mythology puns put the sigh in Osiris. Hey, don't get mad. I put a lot of thought into these. Fun fact! We all know the incredible story of the Odyssey, and I'm sure we all know that the Odyssey is a sequel to the Iliad, but did you know there's a sequel to the Odyssey called the Telegony? Yeah, see, remember how Odysseus hooked up with Circe during the Odyssey? Well, turns out he left her with a little bun in the oven, and she ended up giving birth to a son named Telegonus. When Telegonus reaches adulthood, his mother Circe sends him off to find his father, and she gives him an enchanted poisonous spear to defend himself. However, during his journey, he ends up being forced to dock because of a storm, and because of the storm, he doesn't realize he's actually docked in Ithaca, the place where his father Odysseus is. Now, because he doesn't know he's on his own father's land, he starts stealing the nearby cows, and his father Odysseus comes out to stop him, not knowing that's his son who's stealing the cows, and they get into a fight, and of course, in typical Greek myth fashion, Telegonus accidentally kills his own father with the poison spear. He finds out afterwards, and he's not too happy about it. Man, Odysseus goes through all that trouble in the Odyssey for over 10 years to get home, just to end up getting killed anyway. With Odysseus dead, his now widowed wife Penelope and their legitimate son Telemachus now have nowhere to go. So Telegonus decides to take them back to Circe's island with him. And this is where it gets very gross and typically Greek. Telemachus ends up marrying Circe, and Telegonus ends up marrying Penelope. So basically, these two women each married their son's father's sons. Sure. Nothing weird about that. You gotta be careful while you're in Brazil, buddy. We've got some pretty weird mythical creatures here, including an evil headless mule who runs around shooting fire out of its neck hole. Wow. Any advice on how I can avoid that thing? Oh yeah, just don't carry any shiny objects with you. That way the creature can't spot you. It's got bad eyesight. Bad eyesight. Yeah, bad eyesight. The creature with no head has bad eyesight. Exactly. Question: how does it have any eyesight? It doesn't have eyes! That doesn't make any sense! Oh, I'm sorry. Do you typically encounter more logical sentient headless bodies? Simplified mythology. Thousands of people die so one man can get laid. An entire kingdom is destroyed because the king thinks it's a good idea to accept gifts from people he's at war with. A man spends 10 years trying to get home while literally everybody is hitting on his wife. He spends most of those years hooking up with other women. A group of war victims are trying to find a new home, but they keep getting delayed by their leader's relationship drama. Hera starts a war for no reason. A guy accidentally kills his father while looking for his father. Then he and his half-brothers start banging each other's moms. A man saves his wife from a kidnapper, then gets mad at his wife for being in the house that the kidnapper put her in. A monkey's ass gets lit on fire and burns down a city. Two guys beat the crap out of each other and then immediately become best friends. They both die trying to find a way to never die. And now, pickup lines. Wow. Last time a woman was this gorgeous, the Trojan War happened. Let's roleplay. I'll be Zeus, and you be literally anyone else. Are you the Minotaur? 'Cause I want to attack you from behind. I know I'd fail the Orpheus test, 'cause I could never keep myself from looking at you. Your body is a labyrinth, and I want to be Theseus. You know, these stories all end in tragedy, so we might as well enjoy the time we have. Hey! You know why Hanuman is so lonely? Because there's no Hanu woman.
So here's a mythical creature who's definitely unique. The Erchitu from Sardinian folklore. You know werewolves? Yeah, this is basically a were-cow, with candles on his horns and two little devils who hang out with him and poke him with hot skewers. What, your friends don't do that? The legend says that when a man has done something truly terrible, he is cursed to become this creature every time a full moon rises. Not sure where the devils come from, though. Also, do they just meet up with him at night and go somewhere else during the day? After taking this form, the creature wanders around until it finds a house. Then, it stops and roars 3 times so loudly the entire country can hear it. Calm down, bro. And after this creature roars at the house, the owner of that house will die within the year. Yeah, that's what you get for owning a house. I don't get it. There are only 2 known ways to end this creature's curse. One is to chop both its horns off in a single strike, and another is to blow out both candles in a single blow. You know, seeing as this creature walks around at night, I'm kinda surprised the wind doesn't just knock out both candles. Now that would be funny. And if you look to your left, you'll see Akira, our local wise man. He comes up with all the best yokai that we use in our stories. What if bears could turn into monsters? What if snails could turn into monsters? What if umbrellas could turn into monsters? What if sandals could turn into monsters? What if blankets could turn into monsters? What if lanterns could turn into monsters? What if dead people could turn into monsters? What if dead people could turn into monsters? What if dead people could turn into monsters? What if walls could turn into monsters? What if plates could turn into monsters? What if dish rags could turn into monsters? What if monsters could turn into monsters? Welcome to Japan, though while you're here, you're gonna want to watch out for the Kappas. They're a common creature we have who enjoy pulling pranks, farting, looking up women's skirts, kidnapping, murdering, forcing themselves on people, eating people alive, and ripping out people's anuses. Well, first, holy crap, and second, what should I do if I do encounter one of those? Well, see, the Kappas have a little caved-in area on their head that needs to be filled with water, otherwise they can't move. So, should you encounter one, just bow to it, then the Kappa will bow back, the water will fall out of its head, problem solved. Okay, great, but why does the Kappa bow back? Well, it's common courtesy. Be rude not to. Common courtesy. From the farting, peeping, murdering sexual deviants who rip out people's anuses. They don't want to be rude? Buddy, if you want things to make sense, you came to the wrong country. Hephaestus, I need your help. My head is killing me. I can't make the pain stop. You're a smart guy. Is there any home remedy that can help me? Maybe your head will stop hurting if we smash it open. See, that right there is why I came to you. That's pure genius. Here's something you might not know about Executor. The Pokemon Executor is actually based on a Japanese yokai known as the Jinmenju, which translates to human face tree. Oh, Japan. These trees are known to bear either flowers with human faces or fruit with human faces. These faces are not able to talk, but they are able to laugh. In fact, if you want to take one of these little face fruits home, for whatever reason, I don't judge, all you gotta do is laugh at the tree. Then the fruits will laugh back. You get them to laugh hard enough, they'll fall out of the tree. You can grab a souvenir and go home and scare the crap out of all your friends. Why is this not an option in the Pokemon games? Come on, guys, let's honor the source material.
I have a question about Argus from Greek mythology. For anyone who doesn't know, Argus was a servant of Hera who had eyes all over his body, and when Hera captured one of Zeus's lovers, she had Argus guard that lover in her prison. Zeus sent Hermes to free his lover, so what Hermes did was he played music that put all of Argus's eyes to sleep. Then he killed Argus and freed Zeus's lover. But why did Hermes kill Argus? He didn't need to, did he? Argus was, all of his eyes were asleep. You could have freed the girl right there. You didn't have to kill him. Did you? Did you want to? Maybe Hermes is more messed up than we thought he was. Greek god. Hey, you know what Odin likes best about his wife? She's friggin' beautiful. Fun fact! Have you ever wondered why there's no Year of the Cat on the Chinese zodiac? Well, there's actually a legend that explains that. You see, there's a Chinese myth known as the Great Race, where the Jade Emperor decreed that the Chinese zodiac would consist of the first 12 animals to arrive at a certain race, and then they would race for what places they would all be in on that zodiac. At this time, the cat and the rat were actually best friends, and the cat told the rat, we should try to get up really early so that we can make sure we're among the first 12 to arrive, but I'm really bad at getting up early, so will you, my friend, please wake me up early so we can get there on time? The rat promised the cat he would wake him up, but the next morning when the rat woke up, he was so excited to get to the race, he forgot to wake up his friend. So he didn't wake him up, and he went to the race without him, and he ended up winning the race by cheating. I've done another video talking about that. After the race, the cat showed up, and he was so mad at the rat for essentially betraying him in his eyes that he vowed that they were no longer friends, and from now on, he would try to kill the rat every time he encountered him. This is the Chinese explanation for why cats go after rats, and why there is no Year of the Cat. Happy Chinese New Year, by the way, guys. I'm a dog. What are you? Thor, I have to ask, if you're real, does that mean the 9 realms are real too? As a matter of fact, yes, they are all real. Even Muspelheim? The realm of constant scorching heat and raging fire? Yes, indeed. But you humans know it as Florida. Oh, of course. What about Niflheim, the realm of thick, endless mist? Yeah, that's also Florida. Hey! Yo mama's so horny, she forced herself on Zeus! Yo mama's so old, the fates ran out of thread! Yo mama's so fat, she's the real reason Tantalus can never get any food! Yo mama's so ugly, she makes the Gorgons feel confident! Yo mama's so poor, King Midas can't cover her debts! Yo mama's so dumb, she asked Chiron why he rides a horse everywhere! Yo mama's so fat, she keeps eating Prometheus's liver before the eagle even gets a chance. Hey, what kinds of people does Anubis feed to his pet? The ones who won't omit what they've done. So here's a mythical creature who always likes to leave 'em laughing. The Mahaha from Inuit folklore. Kinda like the Wendigo, this creature is very thin yet very strong, with long stringy hair, long sharp fingernails, and is practically naked. You know, little something for the ladies. This creature is smiling and giggling at all times, because that's not creepy at all. However, the thing it's most famous for is the fact that it enjoys tickling its victims to death. Legends say you can identify victims of a Mahaha by finding corpses with twisted smiles on their faces. Okay, that's some Joker level stuff right there. The best way to escape these creatures is to try to outsmart them. They're kind of infamous for also being stupid. You know, I'm only just now realizing this creature tickles people to death and it literally has ha-ha in its name. No way that's a coincidence. You know, there's a story involving the Greek god Hephaestus that makes no sense at all. So, you guys know how Hephaestus is the son of Zeus and Hera? Or just Hera, depending on the version you read. Well, when Zeus was a baby, there's a story that a golden dog was sent to protect him. And that dog had been made by Hephaestus when Zeus was a baby. So he couldn't have fathered Hephaestus yet. And even if you're going by the version where Hera birthed him on her own, she's in Kronos' belly during this time and has been since she was born. So, this doesn't make any sense at all. There's no way Hephaestus could have made that dog yet. He wouldn't even have been born yet. You know, it's almost as if Greek myths aren't always 100% consistent. And I find that unacceptable.
Everyone, it has been decided that from now on, the cows will be treated as divine protected creatures in this country. Why though? Well, the cow is special for several reasons. Its horns symbolize our gods, its legs symbolize our scriptures, and its udders symbolize the objectives we should strive for. No, I'm not convinced. Well, they also provide us with cheese. Cheese! Alright, boys, it's time to plan out how we're gonna end this amazing fourth game in the franchise. Now, the previous 3 games all ended with amazing, mythical, supernatural twists. So, what's it gonna be this time? Oh, you're gonna love it. See, in this game, there is no supernatural twist. Oh. See, you're surprised, aren't you? I'm disappointed, but surprised. See, I subverted your expectations. So we're just not gonna have any hints of anything supernatural? Oh no, there's gonna be hints. See, we're gonna constantly build up and tease the player with the idea that there's gonna be ghost pirates or something at the end of the game, but then at the end, there's none of that. That's how you subvert expectations. Did you just run out of ideas? Maybe. Fun fact! Did you know that most of our weekdays are actually named after Norse gods? You see, aside from Sunday and Monday, which are named after the sun and the moon, we have Tuesday named after the Norse god Tu. Oh, you've never heard of him? Well, maybe you know him by his other name, Tyr, the Norse god of war. Then we have Wednesday, named after Woden, which is another name for Odin, the king of the Norse gods. Then we have Thursday, named after Thor. I don't think I need to tell you who he is. Then at last we have Friday, named after Frigg, the wife of Odin. But then we have Saturday, which is named after Saturn, who is not Norse. Saturn is the Roman version of Kronos, the Greek Titan. How incredibly random and out of place. Aren't you Christian? Yeah. So why don't you go to church on Sundays? I don't wanna. Why don't you say grace before dinner? I don't wanna. Why don't you confess your sins? I don't wanna. Have you even read the Bible? I don't wanna. Dude, what the hell kind of Christian are you? Most Christians. Wisdom with Mimir. Even if your fantasy anime waifu did exist, she'd just reject you like every other woman does. Hey, who are these guys? Oh, that's Raijin and Fujin. They're the Japanese gods of thunder and wind. Ooh, that sounds cool. Hey, let's put them in the Mortal Kombat games. Sure, go for it. I'm sure players would love to see these demonic, awesome-looking gods in our games. Actually, let's take away what makes them unique and just make them look like normal humans. What? Why? Why would we do that? I don't know, but let's do it anyway. Whoa, who's this guy? That is Huitzilopochtli, the Aztec god of war, sacrifice, and the sun. Nice! Let's put him in Mortal Kombat. Sure, you want to change his appearance too? Actually, no. We'll keep his appearance pretty spot on. And you know what? We'll even include all 3 of those godly attributes you just mentioned. Oh. Well, great. But let's change his name for no reason. What? Hey. What did God say when one of the angels wanted to visit Lucifer? Go to hell. Here's something you might not know about Eris. Eris is famous for being the goddess of chaos and discord, but did you know there's another Greek goddess who serves to be the exact opposite of Eris? Her name is Harmonia. Harmonia is the Greek goddess of, well, harmony. Duh. Some stories say she's a daughter of Zeus, and other stories say she's the daughter of Ares and Aphrodite. Not really sure how any of those gods would produce a goddess of harmony, knowing them. Harmonia is particularly famous for a story where she's getting married to a man she legitimately loves, so the gods celebrate this by giving her a necklace, which is cursed to bring misfortune to anyone who has it. The Greek gods really can't allow anything wholesome, can they? Even when it's the literal goddess of harmony, they still find a way to slide in there and muck things up. Simplified mythology. A dude eats his own babies and his wife doesn't like it, so she gives him a rock.
Years later, he throws up and the babies kill him. The gods create a woman with the sole life purpose of opening a box. Then they give her the box and tell her not to open it. She opens it. A guy kills a monster with the help of a very devoted woman that he immediately ditches afterward. He forgets to do something his dad requested, so his dad jumps off a cliff. Everybody dies. A guy kills a dog and then becomes the dog owner's bitch. Even when he becomes a legendary hero, everyone still calls him the dog owner's bitch. God doesn't like how people are acting, so he decides to destroy the world. He makes the one guy he actually does like babysit thousands of animals while he's doing it.
And right over there, we've got the Titan Atlas. He's holding up the sky so that it doesn't hit the earth and destroy everything. Any questions?
Yeah, what was holding up the sky before Atlas?
Oh yeah, well see, before the Titan War, there were actually 4 different Titans holding up the sky from the 4 corners of the earth, but we threw those guys in Tartarus, so then we just made Atlas do it.
So, you're making one Titan do a job that would normally require 4 Titans?
Every single part of me is in pain!
Ah, he's fine.
I am not fine!
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna drop it!
No, you won't.
Yeah, I'm really gonna do it this
You're
time!
You're not gonna do it. Shut up.
I have a question about Atlas from Greek mythology. So, during the Perseus story, after he gets the head of Medusa, he encounters Atlas holding up the sky, and to end his suffering, Perseus uses the head of Medusa to turn Atlas to stone, which then creates the Atlas Mountains. You may know about them. But then, way later, Perseus's great-great-grandson Heracles encounters Atlas during one of his labors, and he's not stone or a mountain. He's just normal. They interact and everything. So what happened? Does Medusa's curse wear off? That would be really weird considering all the other people Perseus turned to stone, and monsters included. Also, since when does Medusa's gaze even work on gods or titans? Why would Athena give her that kind of power? Did she not think that might backfire? For the goddess of wisdom, she doesn't think that often.
Hey, you know why King Arthur couldn't wield Excalibur anymore? Because he had arthritis.
Here's something you might not know about Hades and Persephone. Did you know that the Greeks actually tried to avoid saying either of their names because they believed that doing so would attract their attention and result in a faster death for whoever said it? Because of this, Greeks would often simply refer to Hades as the unseen, or the receiver of many, and they would refer to Persephone as simply maiden, or daughter, or, my favorite, the pale queen. Man, that's some Voldemort Candyman level stuff right there. And now I'm just picturing Hades going, "Hey, who said my name? Is somebody talking shit? I'ma kill you."
Hey Thor, I just found out the humans have this really cute tradition. They put pictures of their loved ones on their desks so they can feel closer to them when they're away.
Oh yeah, I know about that. Some of us do it too.
Really? Do you have a picture of me on your desk?
Not exactly.
And now, pickup lines. Are you an Aztec priest? 'Cause you have my heart. Call me an Awizot, 'cause I want you for your body. Who needs Tonatiuh when I've already got you lighting up my day? Much like the Nahual, I can be anything you want me to be. All the step pyramids in the world couldn't reach the pedestal I've put you on. So, you like Aztec architecture, huh? Why don't you take a look at the rock-hard serpent between my legs? Hey, you know why Thor's enemies are unconscious? 'Cause they all got hammered.
So here's a mythical creature who's got a really bad touch. The Yara-ma-yha-who from Australian mythology. It's a child-sized creature, yay! With red skin, no hair, and little suction cups on its fingers and toes, kinda like a starfish. And what are those suction cups for? Well, in Australia, if a person ever decides to take a little break underneath a tree, there's a chance this creature may jump down out of the tree and stick its fingers and toes onto the person, which then suck their blood out of their body, but only enough to incapacitate them instead of killing them, so the Yara-ma-yha-who can then open its mouth like a snake and swallow the person while they're still alive. Because of this, Australians typically try to avoid taking breaks under trees. Yeah, good call. However, there is a way to escape. Sometimes this creature pukes people up in order to take a nap, and you have an opportunity to get away. But if this happens to you multiple times, you'll start turning into a Yara-ma-yha-who. Personally, I think I'd move out of town after the first time. I mean, how cheap is the rent that you'd still stick around after an experience like that? Yo mama's so ugly, Izanagi went back to Izanami. Yo mama's so dumb, she keeps trying to throw Pokeballs at the yokai. Yo mama's so gross, she made the Akaname throw up. Yo mama's so fat, when she heard Momotaro used to be a peach, she ate him. Yo mama's so ugly, Oiwa-san died a second time. Yo mama's so annoying, the Oni who kidnapped her gave her right back. Yo mama's so dumb, when she saw the nine-tailed fox, she thought someone must have shoved 8 other foxes up its butthole. I have a question about Apollo from Greek mythology. Okay, so you know how in Greek mythology the sun and the moon are pulled by chariots? Originally it was Helios and Selene who pulled them, but eventually they retired and Apollo and Artemis took over that duty. So Apollo pulls the sun across the sky every day. However, there are a couple of occasions in Greek mythology where Apollo has really pissed off Zeus to the point where Zeus has taken his powers away and forced Apollo to live as human for extended periods of time. Who was pulling the sun chariot during those times? Apollo couldn't have possibly been doing it. I wonder if people were complaining to Zeus, like, Zeus, we still need the sun across the sky, and Zeus is like, no, I stand by my decision. Did Helios start doing it again? That must have been an awkward conversation. Zeus going to him, Helios, I need you to come out of retirement for a while. Why? Because my son is grounded. Again? Maybe. Hey. You know why the other Chinese gods never hang out with Ao Guang? He has a habit of dragging the mood down. Here's something you might not know about Hestia. A lot of people know that Hestia is a virgin goddess who never got married or fell in love with anybody in any way. But some of you may be wondering, wait a minute, Aphrodite would never allow that. That woman is crazy and constantly forces people into relationships whether they want it or not. Well, see, the thing is, Aphrodite has no power over Hestia's love life in any way. And the reason for this is because when gods first started trying to get her to marry them, Hestia was so determined to stay out of Olympian drama, she went right to Zeus, and Zeus bestowed her with the right and power to remain a virgin goddess forever. Hold up, since when does Zeus do nice things like that for a woman? You think he'd be one of the first people trying to hop on her? You know what I think? I think Hestia's got some dirt on her brother. And given the things that are publicly known about Zeus, I can't imagine what he'd want to keep buried. Right over there, we have an Eastern dragon. Wow, that is lovely. Indeed. And right over here, we have a Western dragon. Yeah! What?
Howdy there, partner. Mind telling me what in tarnation's going on with all the varmints we got up in these parts?
Okay, no, that is not how Western dragons really are. You don't know that? How many Western dragons have you met? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yo, Heracles, I heard you brought someone back from the dead? I sure did. So you know my buddy King Admetus? Well, his wife tragically died before her time, and I wasn't happy about that. So I went down to the underworld, I told Hades about it, and we came to an understanding that she deserved to live out the rest of her life, so I took her back. So, he just let you have her? He never does that. I know. I'm guessing he was just in a good mood that day or something. I wouldn't expect that to happen again in a million years. Wow. Hold on, didn't your wife and your children also die tragically before their time? Why didn't you try to get them back? Son of a bitch! Fun fact! It's pretty well known at this point that Tom Hiddleston was originally actually supposed to play Thor in the Marvel movies, but do you know who they originally wanted for Loki? Well, the answer is actually Mr. Nicolas Cage. Yeah, and apparently he was such a huge Loki fan, he actually showed up to the audition in full Loki cosplay. They were seriously considering him for the role, if not for the fact that he was very insistent they be as mythically accurate as possible, even wanting some kind of reference to that sexual horse story. Disney was not about that, so they went with Hiddleston Hiddleston instead. Cage got pretty mad. He ended up ripping off his flesh mask to reveal that he was the actual Loki from Norse myth, and he challenged Tom Hiddleston, to which he ripped off his flesh mask, revealing himself to be former President Theodore Roosevelt. The two then started firing lasers and Nerf darts at one another. Disney, however, chose not to take a side as they were too busy with their plans to purchase Facebook and turn it into a Donald Duck dating simulator.
Wisdom with Mimir. Teachers and professors who brag that their class is too hard for most students to pass are idiots. It is literally your entire job to educate students to the point that they can pass your class. So if most students keep failing it, that means you suck at your job, which isn't something to brag about.
Hey, you know why Kumbhakarna had trouble telling the gods what he wanted? Because it was a bit of a tongue twister.
Here's something you might not know about Set. The Egyptian god obviously had the power to turn into several different animals, but when he was finally defeated by his nephew Horus, he took the form of a pig and ran off. Because of this, Egyptians looked at every pig with a hint of suspicion, wondering if perhaps that is the same pig Set turned into. Because I guess they don't think he ever turned back. Pigs were also completely left out of religious ceremonies and considered unworthy to be sacrificed. And I'm not sure why, because if you sacrifice a pig to the gods and then it turns out to be the former god of evil, I think the gods would love that. Man, one evil god turns into a pig and now we're gonna sideline the entire pig race as a result? That is bigotry. Or I guess you could say, pigotry. I have a question about Ragnarok. So, you know, when the actual battle of Ragnarok is supposed to happen, what's going to happen is the forces of good, including the Asgardians, the Einherjar, and their allies, are going to leave Asgard and go meet the forces of evil at a battlefield called Vigridr. And then they're all going to duke it out, and everyone's going to die except for basically Thor's two sons. And they know this. But what happens if the forces of good don't show up at Vigridr? What if they just stay at Asgard, where it's much more heavily guarded and they probably have more of an advantage? Would that be considered rude? Like, are they already on the schedule? Do they get written up if they don't show up for that? I wonder what the forces of evil would do, how long they would wait at Vigridr. Like, my god, they're supposed to be here an hour ago. Horus, you remember that time we were fighting and we started shooting our semen at each other? We agreed to never speak of that again! Well, we're going to have to because I'm pregnant! Huh? It's true, Horus. I got the test results this morning. But you're a guy! A guy who is now pregnant with the child of his greatest enemy! / nephew. Oh. Alright, well, is it a boy or a girl? It is a sun disk! What? Yeah, I don't know. Our mythology is really weird. So here's a mythical creature who's a bit of a night owl, the Tatakala from Native American mythology. It's a giant evil owl witch, well that's new, and it enjoys eating just about anything people won't eat. Frogs, lizards, snakes, people. Its favorite food is little kids. Yeah, that's not new. These creatures often mimic human voices in order to lure children to their dwelling, and only one child is known to have escaped from them. And shortly after that kid escaped, these creatures were wiped out because their cave simply exploded. And no one is quite sure why. I guess God just got tired of their shit. However, there is also a legend that one of these creatures died by drowning, and from her eye sprang forth all of the owls of the world.
Yes, science!
Now remember, son, before you make decisions in life, you should always ask yourself, what would Jesus do? You mean the guy who got crucified? Well,
Yeah. You really want me to live the same kind of life he did? Son, don't disrespect Jesus. Hey, I'm not trying to disrespect him. I just think Jesus and I have very different end goals. See, I prefer the term, what would Bill Gates do?
Ha ha! I have used my evil powers to lead you astray into these woods. Now you shall never return home. You will remain here forever and go insane for my amusement.
I don't think so!
What are you doing? No, stop! No, my powers are useless against you! Curses!
Ha ha! Yeah, this is a thing.
Here's something you might not know about Sun Wukong. Obviously, the Monkey King is immortal, but do you know how he gained his immortality? Well, there's actually several answers to that. He originally trained with a Taoist master who taught him the secrets of immortality. Thus, he became immortal. And later on, he traveled into the underworld and removed his name from the Book of Mortals, thus becoming immortal. Again, later he was tasked with guarding the peaches of immortality, but instead he ate them and became immortal again. Then he crashed a god party, drank their heavenly wine, and became immortal again. Then he stumbled into an alchemy lab where he found pills of immortality, ate them, and became immortal again. So then the gods got sick of him and threw him in a furnace, but his immortality kept him alive, so the furnace burned away his mortality, which made him immortal again. And finally, he found some magical ginseng fruit, which... oh, you know what it did. Bro, you already became immortal. You don't need to do it 6 more times. Some people are never satisfied. Hey, do you think the 2 goddesses, Nyx and Hemera, have anything in common? Nah, it's night and day.
Lord Hypnos, if you could just help me sleep. I've had insomnia for days and I have an important meeting tomorrow. So, if there's anything you could do to help me...
Whew. You're welcome. So how'd you end up here? Well, shortly after I chopped my dad's balls off, that raises more questions, but continue, I decided to speak with an oracle. Always a bad idea. And I was told that one of my future children would rise up against me. Ah, so you didn't have any kids? So then my wife and I had 6 kids together. You're an idiot. But to keep them from rising up against me, I decided to swallow the babies whole. What the me is wrong with you? But for some reason, my wife had a problem with what I was doing. So then she tricked me by swapping one of the babies with a rock. You couldn't tell a rock from a baby. So that last baby got away, grew up, and ended up getting me to puke up all the other babies who were still alive. Then they all threw me in here. Well, I certainly hope you learned a lesson from all of this. Oh, I sure did. Chew your food. Hey, how do people get around in the underworld? They ride the Erebus. Fun fact! The Headless Horseman is a pretty well-known character now thanks to the Sleepy Hollow stories, but do you know the actual old mythical stories where this character came from? The Headless Horseman is actually an old Irish character named Dullahan, believed to be the embodiment of a Celtic god named Crum Dubh. And he wasn't some evil entity who went around killing people just because he could. He was actually more like the Grim Reaper of Celtic mythology, wandering around the countryside with his head in his hand, seeking out those whose time to die was near, so he could take their soul and bring them to the underworld. He also didn't wield a sword or an axe or a flaming pumpkin. He actually had a whip made from a human spine. Wow, that's metal. And sometimes, instead of just riding his horse, he'll escort the dead souls to the underworld in a big stagecoach. What a classy way to die. I like it. Hey, buddy, now that you're, well, dead, we need to decide whether you're going to be going to heaven or hell. Now, typically this is a pretty long process. We need to weigh all your good deeds against all your bad deeds. Let's start with the basics. How long were you alive? About 28 years. Alright, and what did you do for a living? Well, I sold NFTs. Hell. Hell! Okay, so Mary had Jesus. Yeah. And Jesus is known as the Lamb of the Lord. Yeah. So then... Mary had a little lamb? Get out. Hey, you know why the god Helios tried to be a good father to his boy? Because it's his job to take care of the sun. So here's a mythical creature who's probably hopping mad. The Hooroo from Australian folklore. Yeah, that's a monstrous kangaroo, and its name literally translates to goodbye, because that's what people say when one of these things shows up. Definitely don't want to stick around. Especially when you consider the fact that these things are 40 to 50 feet tall, have incredible strength and hopping speed, and enjoy eating people, animals, and even other mythical creatures. They can even track their prey by sniffing sweat from far away. You know, the funny thing is, after seeing so many of the same animals be used as monsters in different cultures, like lions and horses and boars, it's actually kind of refreshing to see a big kaiju kangaroo. Thanks, Australia. Ah, that over there is Heimdall, the great god who keeps watch over all the realms at all times. I can't imagine what kind of events he witnesses on a daily basis. Dude jacking off. Dude jacking off. Another dude jacking off. Two dudes jacking off. Ooh. Dude jacking off. What's this guy doing? Oh, now he's jacking off. Dude jacking off. Dude jacking off. Woman jacking off. Hey. Got another question about Kronos. You know how Kronos swallowed a whole bunch of his kids because there was a prophecy that one of his kids was going to overthrow him? Well, for those of you who don't know, Chiron is also one of Kronos' kids, and yet he never swallowed him. Why not? Did he, for some reason, think Chiron wasn't included in that prophecy? Or maybe he just looked at the shape of Chiron's body and thought, oh, hell no, there's no way I can swallow that. Wisdom with Mimir. The only reason a grocery store runs out of essential items is because people are afraid the grocery store will run out of essential items. Hey. You know why Narcissus can always own up to his mistakes? Because he spends a lot of time self-reflecting. Fun fact! Oni are probably the most famous Japanese mythical creatures of all time, but some people seem to not know how they're even created in Japanese mythology. Well, the answer is when someone lives a life of evil or wickedness and then dies, they are then transformed into an Oni to represent on the outside the way they were on the inside. However, there are some cases in Japanese mythology where a person is so evil in life that that evil transforms them into an Oni before they even have a chance to die. And Shuten Doji, the leader of the Oni, is one such example. But it's not just humans who can turn into Oni. Some animals like bears and snails can turn into Oni too, but not from being evil. They turn into Oni as a result of living for too long. So the next time you see a snail that you're pretty sure you've seen several times before, maybe step on it just to make sure it doesn't become a monster. Welcome to heaven! Now, if you're looking for a particular group, the Jewish folks typically hang out down there, the Buddhists have a spot over on the east side, the Protestants are just a couple blocks away. Hold on, why does that area have a big wall around it? Oh yeah, that's the Catholics. They like to think they're the only ones here. Hey, Osiris, I got you a nice big box as a present. You know, why don't you come see if you can fit inside it? Well, I would, but looks like someone beat me to it. What? Oh my god. Bast! Yes? Get out of the box! No, I'll stay. Bast, this isn't for you! I live here now. Hey, you know why Zubaji got so much praise during the journey to the west? Because he kept hogging all the glory. So here's a mythical creature whose stomach literally growls, the Mapinguari from Brazilian folklore. It's a very large Amazonian creature with a single eye, a fanged mouth on its abdomen, and hooked claws. This creature is an omnivore, but one thing it always makes sure to eat is any people who defile its territory or any sacred parts of the Amazon. And I wouldn't recommend trying to fight this thing because its body cannot be penetrated by any weapon. It does, however, have one weakness.
its little belly button. But even if you try to hit it there, you'll likely miss because you'll be disoriented by the horrifically disgusting odor this creature gives off. So yeah, it's probably best to avoid defiling sacred Amazon sites unless you're willing to literally face the belly of the beast. The Nemean Lion's skin cannot be pierced by any weapon except one, its own claws. Oh, the Nemean Lion's claws are the one thing capable of cutting through its body with ease. Yo, Lion, are you okay? You look really agitated.
I'm so itchy!
Hey, you're hot. So, we gonna hook up?
Oh, no thank you.
It wasn't a question. Hey, you know why the Queen of the Valkyries is such a badass? Because she's not afraid of anything.